Thank you for joining us, Deaf Dog. I'm T.H.C, the High Caliber. Happy Glocktober. And as I said that, I've been told in a few comments that I'm not celebrating Glocktober correctly because this is not a Glock. This is a Polymer 80. It is not a Glock. And I guess technically, well, it's a matter of opinion. In my opinion, this is a Glock. Even though the lower receiver, the plastic, is made by Polymer 80, it is made to mimic the OEM Glock frame so that it takes Glock internals, Glock slide, Glock barrel, Glock trigger, Glock magazine. Therefore, in my opinion, it is a Glock, just that the frame is made by Polymer 80. Because if you look here, very little of this is actually made by Glock. The magazine, in fact, is the only thing that is made by Glock. However, in my opinion, this is a Glock 19. I had one comment where someone said to me, well, of course, all you have are Polymer 80s. And I'm not really sure what the implication was there. Maybe that I have 80% lowers because I'm not legally allowed to own a firearm, and that's why I have to make 80%. I don't know if that's where they were going with that. But I choose to make Glocks, ARs out of 80% because it gives you the ability to customize them at your own will, and then you don't have a whole bunch of leftover parts because you didn't have to replace the stock parts with your custom parts. You could build it from scratch exactly the way you wanted it, as I did here. RMR cut slide, milled out, rainbow prism, everything down to the John Wick base plate on the mag, slide release, barrel, pins, guide rod, everything, all custom, just absolutely amazingly beautiful. And I have no leftover parts. If I had built this on a OEM Glock lower, I would have a pile of leftover parts that I would either need to sell or just have stuff laying around. And I'd rather, if I'm going to build something like this, build it from scratch so that I know everything that went into it and I was able to put everything into it exactly the way I wanted it. So, Glock 19. And another Glock 19. Also, 100% custom, top to bottom. The only thing I did leave stock in this is that is a stock Glock trigger. And that is because this is a carry and I didn't want to upgrade the trigger on a carry weapon for legality reasons. People say, I don't know if it's true or not, but you shouldn't do that because it's just one more thing that a prosecutor can use against you. I don't want to have to go through that. So since this is the one that I would be carrying, if I am carrying, I left the stock trigger in it. However, this is the only one with a stock trigger. Other than that, everything on it, Tactical Kinetics barrel, the upper U.S. Patriot Armory. I could have gone and gotten a Glock slide and had it Cerakoted to look like that, because this is just a Cerakote. It's not actually Damascus steel. And gone and gotten a Glock slide Cerakoted gray. I could have done all that, But it would have been extremely expensive to turn a Glock into this when I can just build this. And look right there, Glock mag in a Glock firearm, even if the receiver, the frame, was made by Polymer 80. That's a Glock, in my opinion. Just like this is a Glock, in my opinion. Even though this upper is made by Advantage Arms and this lower is made by Polymer 80. Doesn't matter. Still a Glock 17. And I built this when I built it because at the point in time that I built it, Glock had still not come out with their own 22 long pistol. They do now have one that fires, I believe it's a Model 45, but I'm not positive. But Glock does now make a 22 long pistol, but they didn't when I built this. So that's why I built it, because I wanted a 22 in a Glock. And the same for my Gun-Crafters 50. I could have just gone and gotten a Glock 21 and then put this frame or put this slide on top of it and convert it into a 50. But then I'd have a spare Glock 21 slide lying around. And not saying that having a spare Glock 21 lying around is a bad thing, because I do, but again, this is custom. KKM precision barrel, milled out slide, and I could have done all that with my Glock again, but how much money would I have spent in parts that would just then be laying around? I couldn't have then spent it on this Glock 17 long, RMR, fluted barrel, milled out slide, chimney trigger, of course, magwell. I don't know what a 17 long costs, but to buy one and then do all of this to it, I'm pretty sure would cost a good bit more than I have in this. So yeah, once again, a Glock in my opinion. So had Glocktober with this Glock. And another Glock 17 long, all milled out, no RMR, but my custom blue camo matching the blue frame that I got direct from Polymer 80, already blue, didn't have to have it Cerakoted, didn't have to do anything to make my blue camouflage 17 long. Why did I want a blue camouflage 17 long? I grew up on the water and I wanted a blue camouflage gun and I wanted a 17 long. So I did it. Yeah, that's about it. And this, the Glock 21 long, again, KKM precision barrel, chimney trigger, of course. Glock doesn't make a 21 long. This is longer than a 41. It is a full 6-inch barrel. And yeah, Glock does not make one. So why would I build this from Polymer 80 frame and build it from scratch? Because you can't buy this. So again, could have just bought a regular old Glock 21 and taken it apart and bought the parts and built this on a regular frame, but then I would have a bunch of leftover parts. And as I said, has nothing to do with the fact that I am not able to own a firearm, because they are all serialized in my name, because I made them, because the state of Maryland required me to do so. So, they may not be polymer 80s, or they may not be Glocks in your opinion, but they are Glocks in my opinion. And whether you consider them a polymer 80 or a Glock, they are 100% legal for me to own in the state of Maryland. And there you go. That's why I built what I built, because I was able to build what I wanted to build for a lot cheaper. Didn't have a bunch of leftover parts when I was all said and done. And had nothing to do with the fact that I can't have a firearm. Just made it a lot easier and a lot cheaper, in my opinion, and gave me the ability to know that every part that went into each and every one of my firearms, I know what it is. Anything goes wrong, I can fix it. And it just makes it a little more peace of mind for me, knowing that if I ever have an issue, I can fix it. No problems. Not even a second thought. Just go do it. Because I had the training. And that's it. Glocks are perfection. Whether you make them yourself out of a polymer 80 frame and a pile of parts, whether you walk into a store and buy them, Glocks are perfection for their simplicity and their universality, I guess is the word. They're just perfection. That's why I choose them. That's why I build them, because they're very comfortable in my hand. Whether they be the Glock frame or the polymer 80 frame. Just that. Glock. Glock. Perfection. Thank you very much. Happy Glocktober.